Well, hello, my faithful, very extremely faithful viewers on YouTube. Happy Sunday to all of you. My name is Jared Fuller. Today is Sunday, June 28th, 2020. Joining me off camera are two sleeping bears. Dad and Amy are still asleep. They went to the Owasso Speedway last night to watch my cousin race around the track, and they got back a little late, and now they're sleeping in. So if they join us in the video, cool. If not, that's fine too. I hope all of you had a wonderful week. My week was all right. I'm looking for a vehicle, and that's been unsuccessful so far. The good news is that I was pre-approved for an auto loan, so now all I got to do is go out and look for a car that I like within my price range, and then I have to tell them, the dealership or the owner or whatever, that I've been pre-approved for a loan at my financial institution, and we can go from there. But I am looking for another vehicle. I'm without transportation of my own. Amy's brother is letting Dad borrow his truck until we find dependable vehicles, so we don't need the truck anymore. But I am looking. Dad's been helping me. He's been doing a wonderful job at helping me, and hopefully soon I'll have another vehicle. So I've been trying to take care of all that mess. I've got all my paperwork here right in front of me and my license plate right here off camera. Dad had to unscrew the plate out of the van that's no longer running, my Chrysler Town & Country. So yeah, there's a lot to be done. There's a lot to go over. I was at my mom's yesterday. My stepdad and I had taken a trip up to see my mom. She lives on the other side of Mount Pleasant, so that was a nice visit. We had, I don't remember what it was. Enchiladas, I think. Enchiladas and breadsticks. Or not breadstick, but garlic toast or garlic bread or whatever. And then after that we had cake, pie. Come on, Jared, get with it. But it was a nice visit. We talked about a lot of things. We visited for about 3 hours, I think, 3 or 4 hours. So it was a nice visit, and I had a wonderful time. And Mom was planning on coming down in this area soon, I think. I'm not sure. My birthday's coming up in 10 days, so she'll probably be here for that. I don't know what anybody's got planned for me for my birthday, but next week, being July 5th, it'll be the week of my birthday, so I'll probably talk about my birthday or on the following Sunday, which would be Sunday, July 12th. So yeah, there's a lot going on right now, and I'm trying to sort everything out. I'm trying to get a new vehicle. I got my renewal notice in the mail from the state. I have to, renew my license plate before my birthday, and if not, then, I have to pay late fees or whatever. It's crazy. It's crazy, and with all the COVID stuff going on, it makes it that much more difficult to go inside of a branch office, the Secretary of State branch office, to get all of this taken care of, because you have to set up an appointment. Just like when I went to my financial institution to be pre-approved for a loan, I had to set up an appointment prior to that. So the appointment was on Friday, and that was in Chesaning at my financial institution. So yeah, so much is going on. Dad and I went to Montrose and Clio and Flushing and Corunna, Owasso, and then eventually we came back out to Henderson. We visited with my Uncle Danny and Annie Lane, and their two granddaughters were there, Ebony and Sierra, of course. And they have a lot of grandbabies, and now great-grandbabies. They were swimming in the pool, and it was a warm day, and we pulled in, and they were in the pool, and we were walking by. My Uncle Danny had taken my dad and I next door to my cousin Shannon's house, and we had to walk through like a gate with a door on it, and the pool's right there next to the gate. So I waved when I went by, and then they waved back and said hello. But it was a nice visit. We had iced tea, and we were sitting on the front porch and talking about, or actually the side porch, talking about current events of the world with Black Lives Matter and everything going on, the COVID stuff, everything going on, it was a very insightful conversation, and I enjoyed it very much. So I had that going on, and I don't know what else is going to be happening this week other than potentially, hopefully, getting a new vehicle. I'm really, really, really excited about getting a new vehicle. I don't mind sitting home, but sometimes when you stare at the wall or you watch TV or when you scroll through Messenger and it's like nobody wants to talk, this shit's getting fucking boring. So what do? When it cools off, I go for walks up and down my road. It's, I find things to do to stay, preoccupied, so I'm not being so bored so quickly. But it's rough in that department because everybody's scrambling to try to find things to do, and it's really hard to do. Today is my friend Kara, who lives in West Virginia. Today is her birthday. She turns 29 today, so happy birthday, Kara. I know you don't watch these videos because you're not aware that these videos exist, but happy birthday and much love to you. Her son is a Wilms tumor child and cancer survivor, so that works out too. I texted her a little while ago, wished her happy birthday, and so I was going to make a point. I had something on the tip of my tongue, and now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. My mom and I were talking yesterday about when I would get radiation treatments. And she told me, they would have to literally tape me down to the table, like actual, like, tape. I had to be completely still. And they would tape my legs down to the table, they put tape across my ankles, and then I'd have to put my arms over my head like this, and they would have to tape my arms down to the table at the wrist, and then they had to tape my head down, and they would, put tape across my forehead, where I could not move at all. I had to be completely still. I was heavily sedated. It was like Valium, but it wasn't Valium exactly. And she was just telling me all different kinds of things about my radiation treatment when I had to get an MRI done to check for any residual cancer cells in my body. If the cancer may have metastasized anywhere else in my body, because Wilms tumor is known to metastasize in the lungs. I have a friend right now whose son is a Wilms tumor survivor, but it also metastasized in the lungs, so he's still receiving treatment, and if all goes well, he'll be able to get the port out by the 1st of October. So, Wilms tumor is a very tricky, and it's curable. I mean, you can survive Wilms tumor, but and many haven't, so I don't want to discredit or discard those who have not survived. But it's and I was speaking to another friend of mine as well about this, because her son has neuroblastoma, and neuroblastoma and nephroblastoma, which is Wilms tumor, they manifest in the same way, because neuroblastoma can be found near the kidneys, so they thought it was Wilms tumor, and as it turned out, it was neuroblastoma, which is in the blood, but like leukemia, or I don't know, neuroblastoma, leukemia. They're two different types of cancers, but it manifested in the same way as Wilms tumor. So at first, initially, they thought it was nephroblastoma, but then further evidence showed that it was neuroblastoma. So it's easy to conflate the two or confuse the two and get a misdiagnosis. It happens often. I know a friend right now whose daughter had, I think she's got leukemia, and both of her kidneys are actually removed. They thought it was Wilms tumor at first. but I think she's got leukemia. See, there's so many different people that I talk to that I sometimes forget the types of cancers that their children are battling. But I know who they are, and we've met and we've talked and we've gotten to know each other, and all's good, as far as the friendship goes. And that's another thing too. Like I've been receiving text messages from my friends, and messages on Messenger and emails, and I've been busy staying in touch with friends too, so that's always nice. It's really a nice feeling when you hear from people that you really and truly love and care about. So, and I've sent out lots of letters to lots of warriors last week. Many of them have messaged me and said, "Oh, she got her letter. Oh, he got his letter. Thank you so much, Jared. You're so sweet." And it's like, "Oh, you're welcome. You don't have to thank me. It's okay. I just want them to know that I care, that someone cares, someone who's been through that and understands it personally, just wants to see somebody else be happy. That's all it is." And I'm happy to write letters to the warriors, so that's always nice. Other than that, there's really not a lot going on over here today. Not in my neck of the woods. Last week we went up to my Uncle Tim's house before we went car shopping, actually, because, and it was on Friday. I went to my appointment, which was at 1 o'clock, to be pre-approved for a loan. And then while we waited, because they told me it would take about an hour for the underwriters to get back with the financial institution, so I had to wait at my uncle's house for about an hour, and then they called my cell phone and said, "Well, you've been pre-approved, just go out and find a car," and that was exciting. So we waited at my Uncle Tim's house, and we were talking about a lot of things, some kind of personal things about my Aunt Rhonda, who passed away, and the kids and the grandkids, and how they're coping with everything, and how they're doing, and how they're living life, and so we just talk about things like that. It's nothing bad or serious, but we talk about how things used to be when I was a kid growing up, because I grew up with my cousins. I was very close with my cousins. And then, as it happens in life, when you grow up, you grow apart, and everybody has their own agenda, everybody has their own ambitions, and it gets to a point where no one hears from each other anymore, and there's that separation, because either they have families of their own, or they just wander off into a different direction. But we're still family no matter what, regardless. We're always going to be family. But yeah, so I keep in touch with my relatives every so often, and of course I do the video chats with my friends who are out of state, and I get text messages, emails, messages, and Messenger. I've been so busy this week that I think I lose track of days of the week. But I do know my birthday is coming up in 10 days. I will be 34 and still surviving and thriving, doing what I got to do to get through this world, and to, make it with other people, just to not fight with people and keep the drama at bay, and to not let other people and other things get to me so much. So, there's that. And I know there was something else I wanted to talk about, but, oh yeah, it's just, I know what I wanted to talk about, and it's basically something I've said a million times over that you haven't already heard before. And it's about childhood cancer. It's just, I don't do what I do to give myself a pat on the back, or to get accolades, or just to make myself look good. I don't care about that. I'm too real to be superficial. So everybody else who wants to put themselves thinking they're Barney badasses and they're going to change the world, you can keep thinking that, but there's other people out here who are actually doing things underground that you don't know about and that nobody knows about, except for the people that I reach out to directly. And, it's all kept secret. So, because the thing is, when you're on social media, okay, you can tell people about your life, your everyday life. But the conversations that you have away from social media with your friends, or the interactions you have like in text messages, emails, Messenger, things that you don't put out there on the public platform, those are the conversations that I like the off the record things that we talk about. I really like those because when you get to know people one-on-one, even if it is through a text message or through an email or through Messenger, although it's all textual and there's no nuance involved, it's still a nice way to get people to understand how you are, and you can understand how they are. You can kind of feel each other's dynamic, and when you build upon a friendship away from social media or out of the public view, anybody else's opinion about you is not going to matter, because these people know who you are. They know who you are genuinely. Now, when I talk about people here on YouTube, people who are total and complete disgusting, leeching scumbags, that I've mentioned their names here any number of times, I only mention those names because I know there's lots of people who watch my videos, and sometimes I say things that most people don't want to hear, but it's the truth, and people need to be put on alert. Now, I wouldn't put it out there on YouTube. I wouldn't put it out there publicly had they not made their ignorance known publicly. Now, the discussions that I have with my friends, and these are my friends, by the way, in private, those remain anonymous. Those remain private. But when we have people who are coming onto public platforms like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all this other jazz, when they make their ignorance known to the public, it should not matter if I talk about it here publicly. It's no different. I'm reiterating what they have chosen to display on their own accord. And I'm just the commentator who is talking about dipshit number 1 and dipshit number 2. There's people who, they like to think they're national activists. No, they're not. There's people who like to think that they're changing the world. No, they're not. And social media makes it that much more easier to build an alter ego of oneself, to make themselves look bigger than what they actually are. Some people are just full of themselves, and deep down they know that that is not the case. The life or the show that they try to put on social media, they try to make it sound as if they are larger than life, and they preach kindness when in fact they are assholes and narcissists who think that the world revolves around them. They think that they are the center of the universe, and everything they say and do is just so sanctimonious and holier than thou. And that's where you got to watch people. That's where you got to be careful. I'm not perfect. I'm not holier than thou. I'm no saint. I've, done a lot of things I've later regretted doing. I've said a lot of things I shouldn't have said, and, that's life. We learn and we grow from that. But to never admit to your wrongdoing, to never say, listen, I fucked up, and I'm not perfect. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. We all have. But I'm willing to learn and grow from them. There's people on Facebook who don't do that. I know there isn't. Because they think they are so superiorly, they are just so superior over everybody else. Superiorly? I don't think that's a word. They are so superior, at least they think they're so above and beyond everybody else, that they're untouchable. And the thing about con artists is you have people who are so good at what they do that they can manipulate people into thinking that they're good people, when in fact they aren't. And the problem in and of itself is that there's people who don't see the problem. They don't see the forest for the trees, and then by the time they do, it's too late. I know that there's people out there right now who are actively trying to take down Mike Tyson, and I hope they do. I really and truly hope they do, because we don't need people like that having anything to do with children at all. And now I haven't heard from anybody recently as of late. Maybe they got the message, maybe they got the memo here on YouTube that, you know, I'm well aware of the Mike Tyson situation, and if you have any discrepancies or any evidence to present to the proper authorities, I suggest you present it there where it counts, because there's nothing I can do. But there are people who are just slovenly disgusting that they don't care who they take advantage of. And that's the problem. So many of my friends are convinced, or they've been manipulated, or they are so very badly brainwashed into thinking that Mike Tyson is a good person. When you openly admit to sexual harassment, which is predatory behavior, you're not a good person, dude. You're a leeching ass maggot. And you should be in jail. And you should stop using sick and dying kids to try to put out a positive image of yourself on Facebook. Because really, that's what's happening. And the people who, like my friends who have been helped by this guy, well, Jared, he's such a good guy. He's had a past life, but he's really, really changed. I'm sorry. A predator is a predator. People like that don't change. So, and I don't care what they did for you. A leech and maggot is always a leech and maggot, and he's good at professionally manipulating and trick fucking you into thinking that he is just this wonderful guy. And these people, like my friends, who are so apologetic about him and, oh, but he's really changed his life and turned his life around. Fuck that. Why would you want somebody like that around your kids? You know, it's stupid. So the childhood cancer world is never going to heal, because there's far too many people who are using it for the wrong reasons. And, well, their hearts are in the right place. Well, yeah, but their actions kind of speak for them. You know, I mean, it's not... If you're going to help somebody, then just help somebody. Just help them. You don't have to post it all over Facebook to get your pat on the back, because then that makes you look disingenuous, and then your motives are completely different. And something was brought up about that too. Well, Jared, so what if they brag about who they help or how they help or what they do? They're still getting the help. Well, it does matter. It really and truly does matter. Because when you help somebody and you don't share it with the world, it says a lot about your character. When you help people and you say, look, I don't want recognition, I don't want praise, I don't want notoriety, I don't want any of these accolades, I don't want, I don't want to be glittered up and jazzed up as some saint or some amazing person. I just wanted to help you, and I want to go on with my day. That's a real, genuine thing to do. And it speaks a lot about who you are as a person. Excuse me. It speaks a lot about who you are as a person. But the minute you put it on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or wherever else, it changes the whole view of why you're doing what you're doing. Because now it suddenly becomes about you. If you're helping somebody, why do you need cameras to do it? Why do you have to take your camera? That's the kind of shit that just blows my mind. Because if you're helping somebody, you don't need a camera crew. You help somebody, and then you go on with your day. You don't need the camera crew. Just help people. It's just really bogus. The childhood cancer world is broken, not because of oh, Jared's got an opinion about everybody. I'm entitled to an opinion, but guess what? I'm privy to that shit. I'm not just someone who's a fly-by-night, I want to be popular kind of a person. When you talk to me about childhood cancer, I've been there, man. I'm going to tell you things that I know about it. I'm going to tell you things that I still experience today, 31 years later. You can't take that away from me. I've got my battle scars. You can't take those away. And it used to be a point where I wanted to hide my battle scars. Now I want to show them to everybody. You know, because I'm not ashamed of them. I'm a stronger person today because of those scars. And that's something, you know, that I like to implement as well to the kids. They feel embarrassed or ashamed of their scars. There's nothing to be embarrassed or ashamed about. You should be proud of that. You should be proud of your scars. Because it shows strength and determination, and you don't take shit. But anyway, I've rambled a little bit, and I actually did it without the help from Dad and Amy. Usually they have something to say or they have some input from the sidelines, but they're still asleep, and that's fine. They can stay asleep. They probably got back. I think they got back around 1, 2 o'clock this morning because I was still awake. I was just going to bed when Dad and Amy got home. Stupid allergies. It's not COVID, by the way. It's my sinuses draining down and. But anyway. Everything here is good. I mean, I'm doing okay and trying to stay healthy. I'm trying to stay cool because it's been hot this past week. We've been getting, I don't know, thunderstorms. I think they were talking thunderstorms again this week. But, you know, what can you do? It's nature. I enjoy nature. I love sunsets. I love deer. I love listening to the rain. I love watching lightning from a distance. I don't like lightning when it's over my house. But I don't mind it from a distance. Like, I can walk down the road, and if there's a thunderstorm off in a distance, I can see the clouds and the lightning going through the clouds. It's kind of pretty. It's kind of cool to watch. But it's dangerous to humans. If you're over there, I don't mind, but when you're over my house, I'm under the couch. I do not, I don't know, I'm afraid, I'm terrified of thunderstorms. But anyway, that's about it. I mean, I'm doing okay for the most part. I've been here for almost a half an hour. And as always, you know, you can reach out to me. My email address is in the About tab section of my YouTube channel. There are a lot of people who like to spam and pretend that they are something or someone that they're not, so I have to be very vigilant in trying to garner information about people, because I can just as well, you know, I can find out. I can find out if a person's legitimately true or if they're pretending to be someone that they're not. Easy. So, yeah. Something like that. Yeah, I've been here for about a half an hour. Yeah, so this week I'm going to try to get a vehicle. Going to try to. Dad's been looking on Facebook, because I really don't know much about stuff like that. I mean, I'm not a mechanic. My dad's a mechanic, and he knows more about what to look for. He knows the questions to ask. He knows basically what to do in a situation when it comes to buying a vehicle. I'm really not smart when it comes to that because, well, you know, my dad was a mechanic for well over 10 years. He was a mechanic at Muffler Man, and he delivered parts, and he worked on cars, and he taught an automotive class. My Uncle Rick and my dad taught an automotive class, if I can speak. So he knows a lot about cars. I'm just trying to, and there may be things that he doesn't know that he has to ask somebody else, and then somebody else would know. But, you know, all the more, you know, my dad is my mechanic, more or less, and if there's something he can't do, I'll have to take it to a shop and get the vehicle fixed at the shop in the garage. So, but anyway, that's about it for now, guys. They're gonna stay asleep for a little while. It is, let's see what time it is. I know it's after 10 o'clock. It's almost 11. So anyway, guys, that's about it for this week. Thank you for watching another installment of the Sunday Video Update. My name is Jared Fuller, aka Jared Bear. Like I said, if you want to get in contact, please email me. The About tab section of my YouTube channel has my email address. So please, if you feel inclined, reach out to me. Let's stay in touch, and maybe we can build upon a friendship. Sounds good to me. So, I had something in my eye. Anyway, much love. I'm out of here, guys. Peace out. Have a good week.